Okay, V, thank you very much, my friend. And ready for the second final part with an interesting guest, something that I need to tell you as a surprise. Just be ready.
Hey, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve a break. Enjoy a moment of indulgence. It's time for Zanna Coffee. Guilt-free pleasure. Zanna Coffee is the organic coffee to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Only the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world that I selected. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com www.zannacoffee.com. Get your coffee bag now. Don't be cheap. Life is too short and you deserve the best. Zanna Coffee.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM. Final hour about love. Last Sunday, I started this new concept to share the opportunity to broadcast on the air with anybody of you who would like to try the experience. And as I said, why I'm doing this? Because first of all, I never wanted to be really here on the air to be the guy, the radio guy. I'm not a radio guy. I'm just a regular guy. And my point is, if a regular guy like me, maybe even less than regular, I mean, listen to my accent, listen to my grammar, I mean, I can't believe it, I'm still on the air. But my point is, if I'm here, try to do my little part, try to share information, try to wake up our fellow Americans, sometimes even to engage in things we don't agree, that's fine. But the idea is that we want to bring liberty, we want to keep the freedom of speech, we want to defend our republic. If you believe in those basic things, in our Bill of Rights, and in the Declaration of Independence, and we speak somehow the same language, even with different accents, I consider you my brother or my sister in freedom. Simple as that. Regardless your political party, I don't care. So the idea was that I really pray that more people out there, rather than being listeners, they become broadcasters. I don't care if you are broadcasting from a website, podcasting, or a little micro radio from around your neighborhood block, whatever. Or maybe you got lucky, you got a station can help you out. All idea is that maybe you can become another beacon of spreading the message that we try to talk here. That's it. So I wanted to give a little bit of input, a little bit of fun, and even a little bit of just experience to say I've been on this station, an AM station. This way I also want to thank K-Talks 1340 AM that allowed me to do pretty much everything I want here, since of course I do not work for K-Talks, but I have my syndicate show and they rebroadcast my show, so I appreciate that. Anyway, today I have an incredible lady, very smart. By the way, she's a young lady. They call themselves, they don't call themselves. They're called the Millennium Generation. And sometimes I lose hope a little bit, but I have a lot of hope when I find people like her. She's very smart. She's politically involved. And she's also, I tell you, doesn't make any difference, but why not? She's also very attractive. She's a great package, great brain, and great face, and after all the rest. Anyway, let me bring her on before I talk too much. Nicole, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, hopefully I didn't completely destroy you in the introduction about you, but I wanted to be very honest. I think you're a very smart young lady, and I want to thank you to be on the show here with me today. What is your real, or at least what is your art name that we're using today?
Nicole Price.
Nicole Price, perfect. And where are you from? Where are you calling from?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Okay, listen, I want to give you the floor. As I said, this is going to be your segment. I'm going to be here maybe asking some questions, but you're going to be the host of the show. So here we go. Nicole Price from Dallas, Texas on Love, Guns, and Freedom. You got the floor.
Hi, this is Nicole Price, and you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM. And today I wanted to discuss with you feminism and how it's destroying this country. So, Gianluca, whenever you think of feminism, what are some of the things that you think of?
Okay, feminism, I remember when I was a kid in Italy, was a way almost to destroy the family, honestly, because the women, they got stuck with double task of jobs. They had to go to work for living, of course. At the same time, they still had to take care of the family. So I don't know. I think it was a kind of a fraud to destroy the family. What is your opinion about feminism?
Right. Well, the way I see it is, it's exactly what you said. But when your average person thinks of it, they think of pretty much they think if it's a good feel-good experience, it's something that's going to bring equality to everyone and make women have a standing in society. When in reality, women already have that. We're already all equal. That's the beauty of the Constitution. That's the beauty of being, that's just the beauty of America, essentially. And what bothers me, though, is that, like, what it's actually doing, aside from the political ramifications of it, is it's castrating men. It's basically, it's taking women and convincing them that they can do anything that a man can do, when in reality, our brains and our bodies are just not capable of doing the same things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that that's the way it's supposed to be, and that's okay. We all have a role to fill in society, and whenever we all are like thrown into this category of one big unit that anyone can do anything, it doesn't work. That's not the way it works, And so it's kind of the way I see it, though, is it all stems from basically the UN. Like there's a UN treaty called CEDAW. That it's the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And its goal ultimately is to control the domestic policy of America. The goal is to take and, like you were saying, pretty much destroy the family unit, so that they can control, Americans by taxing and by basically throwing us all into this like turmoil of a woman can't bring in as much money as a man on average, and that's okay. But whenever you have a woman though that takes this, basically when they switch to the traditional gender roles and they have women coming in thinking they can be the breadwinner in the family, and the husband stays at home with the kid, that family's not going to be as successful as if the man were doing being the breadwinner, and if the man were going and working and bringing home the bacon, so to speak. And so it's kind of like for example, in the preamble to this UN treaty, which is the goal is to control the domestic policy. It says that they're basically wanting to change the traditional gender roles of men and women in society and family, and that is needed to achieve full equality between men and women.
Can I say, let me stop you 1 second. Let me stop you 1 second. First of all, it's very sad when I see a foreign government, or at least let's say whatever they call themselves, they consider it's technically is a government entity, foreign government, a foreign agent in this case, try to dictate what we're supposed to do here in our country. Right there, it really is sad. Even the fact that we're entertaining this situation, unfortunately we are, because we are part of the United Nations. We've been sold out a long time ago, and now we're trying to, our politicians, they try to bring us more and more into this. But something is very important. You're right. The plan is the destruction of the family. Honestly, sometimes may happen, maybe it is not a natural way that used to be, but let's say maybe the mother has more education, maybe she has a better degrees or whatever. It could be the person that maybe she may go sometimes to keep the family intact, because I tell you, if I to think that both parents are working, because that's it didn't happen in the past, you know very well, maybe better than me, 50 years ago, the middle class was dad going to work. Even a blue-collar job was enough to bring enough money to take care of mom, buy the house and a little car, and be happy. Now it's changed because the economy is being destroyed. So now they need to have both parents working, and you still make half of the money. But regardless, if the point is at least somebody's at home and take care of the family and the kids, rather than sending them to this sort of a public education camps called school system, that would be not bad after all. But they said this rather than just being natural, sometimes it's the way it is. Let's say me and you, we get together, okay? And you have a master's degree in some great education, you're making incredible whatever career. And let's say I am, in my life, I don't have that type of opportunity. But at the same time, as a family, we decide what is best for our family as a unit. And at that point, we can make a choice, And I don't think it's even bad, the fact that the father stay home with the kids, if they want that as a decision between the mother and the father together, according to a logic. I'd rather that than have the father working, the mother working, and the kids at some, as I said, 12 hours a day in a school, okay? But anyway, so tell me something. When you think of this in your life, around your area, you live in a big city, I guess. You live in Dallas or outside Dallas?
I live in downtown Dallas.
Okay, so it's a big town. I've never been there. Your generation, okay? Because sometimes I forget, but I'm getting kind of old. I'm 48, so and I realize that there is a new generation out there. Your generation, how the young women, American women, look at this idea of feminism. They buy that propaganda, or they think like you?
Oh, they buy it.
So
They buy right into it.
so they think it's good to have somehow this sort of a competition, even no matter what, just because with the male, and sometimes even to little bit psychologically castrate him.
Yes.
That's sad, that part. But don't you notice also another side? There is a big push to push the women in that direction, but also there is a big push socially and also in general as a society, and also I say chemically too, because when you start to realize what really now we are eating as food, you realize that it's not a coincidence that the average male, his testosterone level is going way down because estrogens, they are going way up in whatever we eat. Are you familiar, for example, in estrogen in meat, and also what can do plastic like BPA in these containers, altering your endocrine system and also completely
Sterilizing.
yes, sterilizing
Right?
you, or at least make you more estrogen than you're supposed to have. You know that.
Correct.
So that's my concern. I think it's not just the aspect from attacking the women or try to push them in that direction, but also now you see, become a transsexual. It's like almost something that we need to talk about it, because we need to start teach him in school and becomes almost like a normal thing. So little kids say, hey, why not? I'm becoming a transsexual. And at that point, maybe he has already so much, eats hamburgers with estrogen 3 times a day. And you will check your blood level, you will see estrogen going through the roof, and you're going to start to act like a woman. Am I too crazy about this, or you think there is maybe a hidden plan about that?
I think whether it's a plan or not, it's probably happening. But at the same time, whenever you're born with either male genitalia or female genitalia. And the way I see it is, I think it's on the parents to say, well, okay, if your kid comes home one day and says he wants to be a girl all of a sudden, he's not a girl. It doesn't matter what he feels like. In my opinion, and this is probably controversial, but I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, whenever it comes down to it, if your kid comes home one day and says, hey, Mom, I want to be a surgeon, would you let him operate on your arm? No, you tell him, no, you're not a surgeon. You know what I'm saying? It's like because he's not. It's like they can feel and imagine and play and be whatever they want to be. But when it comes down to it, to actually allow them to take a situation that actually, if it's really truly a situation, is considered as of right now a mental illness, to nurture the mental illness rather than to nurture what reality. I think it's child abuse. It's not right. And our society is just taking something that it's like they've taken mental disorders and mental problems and they're glorifying it and saying we need to accept this and accept them as they are. It's like, no, what we need to do is help them understand that that's not what the reality of it is. And if you have a child that's like, say, a little boy, why would you give him like estrogen to push him to be more the opposite direction of where he's supposed to be? Why wouldn't you try and nurture him and do things to get him to produce testosterone naturally, his own, to be what he is?
Yeah.
It's like I don't understand why you would want to push them in the direction of the psychological disorder rather than trying to rein it in as best you can. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I think? Unfortunately, it's all connected because, as I said many times, one of the most important figures we have in our society when it comes to everything, from gun culture to education, is the mother. Because after all, mothers, they are the first level of teaching and teaching the knowledge, teaching the culture, teaching everything of our next generation. Okay, if we have unfortunately mothers that have been through the process of now this public school system that is not about educating, it's about re-educating, it's about completely molding the shaping the minds in their agenda. Okay, so the point is, right now we have already a couple generations down that the concept of feminism, especially in the aspect of the idea that the man is useless, or at least not even useless, almost there is a hate. That's the sad thing. I have no problems with an independent woman. Say, hey, I want to work, or I want to do my things, I want to be independent. That's fine, that's great. At the same time, you still say, why should I hate a man? Why can we not have at least that type of relationship? Of course, sometimes you have stronger women, sometimes you have stronger men. Normally the man's supposed to be a little stronger, but sometimes doesn't happen. But regardless, it shouldn't be hate, shouldn't be this sort of vilification. Now there are many feminists, for example, they want to have a child. They don't even want a man anymore. They just go straight to the vitro, sperm donation. Are you aware of that? I mean,
yes, I am. That's disturbing to me.
That's sad. I feel sorry for the kids too, honestly, because they're already gonna grow up in that type of environment, And they say, okay, that's normal for them at that point. Now, women in the military, what do you think about the idea now that our politicians, for their agenda, they are pretty much lowering the level of our military forces for the parameters. You have to set parameters, standards. And the standards should never be able to modify according to the students, but the students or the potential soldiers, they must adapt or try to reach the standards. Simple as that. Now, because they want to have women in combat units, and they cannot make it, they're lowering the standards. Don't you think could be some sort of a pretty dangerous situation, not just for the lowering of the standards, but also to have, if let's say me and we are in a unit, okay, military unit, whatever unit you want to talk, and now the blue we have a bunch of guys and there are a couple ladies there. It starts to create a very strange situation of jealousy, or maybe things that we shouldn't think when we are in that type of environment. We should just focus on doing our job, or at least try to be alive. Let's put it this way. Don't you think it could be dangerous?
I totally think it would be dangerous, because if you think about it, a man's natural instinct is to protect a woman. So if he's there if they're doing a mission, and they all have a job to do, and if for whatever reason natural instinct kicks in and the woman's in danger, the men are going to try and protect the woman versus doing their job that they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And that creates a whole that puts everyone in danger at that point. Not to mention, if a man gets injured and a woman is the only option to carry him to safety, if I were a man, I wouldn't want to have to rely on a woman to carry me somewhere to safety or drag me to safety. You know what I'm saying? And also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they've done studies that shown that basically the all male troops, or like whenever they're doing their missions and stuff, or whenever they're doing their training, the all male groups perform better. The male-female groups perform as well as the bottom of the all-male groups as far as the percentages go, as far as their overall performance. So the troops that have females in them, their overall skill level drops to the lowest bracket of what the all-male. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't balance out at all. It makes it to where, like, women just, because they're having to lower the standards, and because they all have to, you're supposed to be operating at on an equal playing field, it doesn't work. It does not work. Women are not capable of doing some of the things that men do, and that's not bad. That's the biggest issue that I have with it all, is that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a woman being weaker than a man. That's completely natural and normal. There are some exceptions to that rule, obviously, but overall, your average woman can't just go in and do a job that's strenuous on you physically, and that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, whenever people try to force it, and they force their will on everyone, and they force their ideals on everyone, it's like, this isn't a pretty perfect little world that, everyone can just get to do whatever they want to do. And when your parents tell you when you're a kid, you can go up and be whatever you want to be, I think some people take that seriously. And it's like, no, you can't just be whatever you want to be. You have to be whatever you're capable of being.
Well, at least, as I said, you can push always your limits. You can try your best. I think, though, unless you are, there we are two different type of body type, two different type of hormones. Two different type of configurations. Normally a man is more for some roles. But I tell you also, I want to try to play a little bit of devil's advocate. I know some guys that if I had to go in a fist fight, I like to bring some girls that I know. Don't get me wrong. No, seriously, I know some ladies out there that I tell you, if I had to go to in some situation that I might fear for my life, I'd rather to have them on my back than some of the guys that I know. And I'm not trying to put guys down, because I said the average guy out there normally is a man. But unfortunately, as we were talking right now, this is a new generation, especially young people I'm talking about, okay? I'm not talking about the old generation. The youngest generation, it freaks the hell out of me. I got some guys in their 20s, and I could be their dad, almost grandfather, I guess. I'm 48. If you start really early. My point is, I look at them, guys. You are half of my age. You cannot even keep up with me in jogging around the block. Seriously. That's pathetic, okay?
Right.
And I'm not trying to, I'm a regular guy. I'm not doing anything. But the point is now the new level of, look at the Obamacare advertisement, how they're trying to also stereotype the new American male. Did you see the little guy, the young man sipping chocolate at home? That's the new male that represents now in the media through the government propaganda the American man. And that's so sad. We would never won World War II. We were still now probably be under Japanese occupation if we had those guys going to war. Seriously,
Right.
the hot chocolate guy of the Obamacare advertisement, it freaks the hell out of me. I mean, that's the best we can find.
Completely.
I mean, did you see that? You remember
Yes.
that? Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that's my point. You know, some women, I think they got much more balls of some guys that I know. That's a fact.
Well, and that's the problem is that the women have actually, the feminist movement, in my opinion, has taken men and they've reduced them to that. And it's not. The problem is that a lot of women, they're pawns. Like they think that it's supposed to be about women's equality, and in reality, it's about controlling domestic policy and controlling people. You know what I'm saying? And they're playing right into it. Feminists play right into it, and the men are suffering from it because they've been castrated and they can't even fight back anymore because for fear of having some sort of lawsuit filed against them for discrimination. And so it's like when the law is on the side of the feminist, it pretty much, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. And
Yes.
that's sad. To me, I feel terrible for men nowadays, especially the men who actually still have balls. You know, in my opinion, I think that the skinny jeans didn't help the ball situation. It was like, but I think that when it comes down to it, though, it's like men need to keep their women in check, and I think that women need to keep their men in check. And whenever we check each other, ultimately, we're all better for it. And unfortunately, women have got the law on their side right now, and it's ruining everything. It's ruining the fabric of America.
Yes.
You know?
I have a question, a little bit different topic, I mean, you sound like a very different from the average young woman I know out there. And don't get me wrong, there I'm sure other great young ladies out there that try to inform. But let's say you're not the average person normally I may meet at the grocery store when I go shopping. If you talk about these topics or other topics that normally I know you talk on the Facebook, I mean, you're kind of unique. How is difficult to find, let's say, your like-minded person, special person, that at least you can have a conversation about things like this, and at the same time you can have a relationship.
Well, you're saying how am I not
No,
the feminist mentality?
No, beside the feminists, you talk about many other things, kind of different
yes.
from the average lady out there that normally may talk about the Kardashian or other stuff, okay? At least what I follow you on Facebook, you're kind of an active lady, very concerned about the future of this republic, and, you're vocal, and you try to learn a lot of stuff. You don't do exactly the same typical pattern of a woman watching Mexican soap operas all day and going to the nail salon, okay? So that's my point. How is difficult for a type like yourself or at least to communicate or to find like-minded males that maybe you can also have a love story or let's say a romance? Are you having any problem, or maybe in Dallas you got lucky, you got at least a selection of like-minded people that you can have some social life or love life?
Well, I found actually that it's better for me to be as single as I can because of the way that I communicate with people and just my overall. I'm fairly flirtatious in a sense, so it's kind of more of a situation where I stay single, kind of just because I don't think it's fair to put a man through the kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of, whenever if I'm flirtatious, and most people that I talk to are men. Most people that I talk to about politics are men. And I find that it's actually better in the long run for me right now to stay as single as I can, just because I'm not really in a hurry to start raising a family, especially in the world that we're living in right now. And it's for me, it's easier, so I don't have to worry about putting someone else in a position where they feel jealousy or, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I date and things like that, but it's not, for me, I think it's not fair for where I'm going in life right now to put someone else through that. So I kind of try to.
Okay. You start to sound like a feminist now, okay? Don't go there, okay? I mean, give him a chance once in a while, but I think you're right.
No, I do. But that being said, though, most men that I would say talk to, it's not really something that I'm looking for, simply because of the fact that I don't think it's fair to put someone else through that. It's not right for me on a human level.
Listen, I want to say time went so fast, but we're gonna do it again, and I'd like to have your input, the topics you want to bring on the show. I appreciate it. All I want to say, thank you for being today. And everybody, thank you for listening. God's willing, I will talk to you next Sunday. You'll be listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com and you can listen to the show today as a replay. Bye-bye.